Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture of Mechanical System Design. In the previous lecture, we completed the unit of Design of IC Engine Components. In this lecture, we will start with the new unit, that is Optimum Design, and in this lecture, we will learn about Johnson's method of optimization. Especially, we will focus on theory of Johnson's method of optimization in this lecture, and in the next lecture, we will see some illustrative examples of application of Johnson's method of optimization. So let us understand theory of Johnson's method of optimization. We have to understand two important terms as a background of Johnson's method of optimization. They are adequate design and optimum design. Adequate design, as the name indicates, is the design solution which satisfies the functional requirements of the given problem. The optimum design is the best adequate design within given constraints. Let us understand these two concepts by the suitable example. Let us understand the problem of choosing a car from going from one place to another place. Now there are several cars available in the market, and any car, if a customer picks, will solve his problem of going from point 1 to point 2. Thus, all the cars available in the market are the adequate design for the problem of the customer. However, the moment you add some constraints on the process of choosing, then all cars are not adequate designs. For example, if you add constraints such that a car should be small enough to fit into a parking lot, a car should accommodate 7 passengers, a car should have certain amount of luggage space, a car should have a ground clearance so that it can tackle bad roads. So if you add such constraints, then all the solutions are not adequate solutions. Then the available solutions will be reduced, and on imposing further constraints like cost of the car, availability of the service, the customer will be able to arrive at one solution which is optimum for the constraints imposed by him. This is the difference between adequate and optimum design in real life problems. In mechanical engineering also, while designing the mechanical components, several times designers has to face this problem. They have to design the components and choice of material is available in abundance. Thus, he can design material from any available, he can design the component from any available material. However, if he has to have some constraint or some objective in his mind, then the optimum design will change. If you choose any material, then all these designs are adequate. They will satisfy the functional requirement of that particular component. However, if there are some objectives, for example, the certain functional requirement has to be met, or the cost should be low, or weight should be low, then in that case the all designs will not be adequate. Only few of them might be adequate, and only one of them will be the best, which will be called as optimum design. Optimum design is very important in mechanical engineering or in any walk of the life, because it results in improving the functional requirement of the component and reduce the unwanted effects, undesirable effects in the design. In simple words, it enhances the performance and it reduces the cost, time required, stresses induced, or weight of the material. When the optimum design is being employed, or any simple design methodology is being employed, the designer come across various parameters, and those are classified as functional requirement parameters, material parameters, and geometrical parameters. Let us understand these parameters one by one. Functional requirement parameters are straight away the functional requirements specified in the problem. For example, load carrying capacity, of a beam, torque carrying capacity of a shaft, stiffness of a spring, etc. Apart from functional requirements, sometimes undesirable effects are also important in design. For example, cost of a component, weight of the component, stresses induced in the member, deformation of certain machining element. These are all undesirable effects, and in some cases they are more important than the functional requirements. Basically, undesirable effects are the negative functional requirements, which either has to be minimized and functional requirements has to be maximized. From this description, you might have understood that functional requirement parameters are generally the objective function of any design, which has to be either maximized or minimized. Material parameters are pertaining to the material properties such as strength of the material, modulus of elasticity of the material, Poisson's ratio of the material, density, cost per kg, etc. One of the property of material parameter is it is dependent on each other, which means you cannot change cost of a particular material without changing its strength of material, or you cannot change density of the material without changing the modulus of elasticity of the material. Thus they are dependent on each other. Moreover, material parameters are independent of functional requirement parameters and geometric parameters. Let us understand geometric parameters. Geometrical dimensions of the mechanical elements come under geometric parameters, such as cross-section of a beam, diameter of a shaft, module of a gear, etc. The geometric parameters are independent of each other, which means one geometric parameter can be changed without affecting another geometric parameter. However, it is dependent on functional requirement parameters and material parameters. That means if the functional requirement changes, geometry of the parameter will change. If material is changed, geometry of the parameter will change again. Let us take example of a torsional formula which is used to calculate torsional shear stress in a shaft. Tau is equal to 16T upon pi d cube, where tau is the shear stress induced, T is the torque applied, d is the diameter of the shaft. Rearranging this equation, we get T equal to tau pi d cube upon 16. In this formula, T, that is torque, is number 1, that is functional requirement parameter. Tau, which is stress induced, or if we are designing the shaft, then it is the shear strength of the material, that is material property, therefore it is a material parameter. D is the diameter of the shaft, which is a geometric parameter. The design parameters can also be classified on the basis of their status in the problem, such as specified parameters, limited parameters, unspecified and unlimited parameters. Specified parameters are those whose values are specified or known in the problem. Something like torque carrying capacity is equal to 10 Newton meter. If such data is mentioned in the problem, then torque carrying capacity T of a shaft is a specified parameter. Limited parameters are those parameters whose exact value is not specified in the problem. However, the range of values or the limits of values are known. For example, if it is given in the problem statement that the diameter of the shaft ranges between 50 mm to 100 mm, then diameter of the shaft becomes a limited parameter. Lastly, unspecified and unlimited parameters are those for which neither the exact value nor the range of values is known. Now, while designing the designer has to use several equations which are again classified as primary design equation, that is PDE, subsidiary design equation, that is SDE, and limit equations, those are LEs. Let us understand what are these equations. PDEs are the equations which express the most significant functional requirement of the design, or which express the most significant undesirable effect. Subsidiary design equations are those equations which are there in the formulation of the problem other than PDE. Ranges of some parameters are expressed as limit equations. It might be slightly difficult to understand at this point of the time about this theory, but when we will be solving the example, you will realize them in better manner. So just bear with me till we finish this lecture as well as the next lecture. But it is important to understand this background before we understand Johnson's method of optimization. With this background, let us understand Johnson's method now. This method was published by a researcher namely R.C. Johnson in 1979. We have to understand some background before appreciating what Mr. Johnson has proposed. If we have to design a certain mechanical component and we have choice of 10 materials available with us, and we have an objective of let us say reducing cost of the entire design or entire cost of that material, cost of that component. So with the lack of knowledge of optimization, how we will proceed is we will design this component by using all 10 materials. So we will have 10 designs available with us. Then we will calculate cost of each design, each component which is manufactured by different materials, and finally we will realize which one is the cheapest one which is satisfying all the design requirements as well. It's a very simple and effective method, but it is not very efficient method. It's a recursive job and not a smarter way to do. So Johnson proposed a method with the help of which the optimum design can be obtained in one go. And what he proposed was, first we have to decide the independent geometrical parameters in the design. Then we have to decide objective of optimum design, which will help us in writing the PDE, that is primary design equations. By reading the problem, designer has to write all SDEs and LEs. After formulating PDE, SDEs and LEs, which will be made up of several parameters, these parameters has to be classified as per their status in the problem. Then the SDE is combined with PDE to obtain developed PDE. This has to be done by eliminating unspecified and unlimited parameters in the equations. Limit equations are combined in PDE to obtain final PDE. Now you can imagine in final PDE, lot of material parameters will be there. These material parameters are grouped together and they are called as material parameter group. Now objective function directly depends upon this material parameter group, value of this material parameter group. Now this value of material parameter group is calculated for all the candidate materials, which will directly help us to understand which is the optimum material to satisfy the objective of the design. And thus we are able to identify the material, optimum material in one go. Once optimum material has been found, we can determine values of other parameters in the design using original subsidiary design equations. So this was the method proposed by R.C. Johnson to solve the problem or to design the problem in one go and achieve the optimum solution which will satisfy the objective of the designer. So this was theory of Johnson's method. In the next lecture, we will see one numerical example to understand these concepts and application of Johnson's method. If you have any doubt or suggestion, any questions, you can comment it on this video. If you have liked this video, please like and share it. If you have found this channel useful, please subscribe it. Thank you.